Allora, I want to show you this before I get into making the real video with my tripod in front of me instead of here. But first of all, can you see the glare that's here versus how solid this color is? I believe it's because I had too much liquid blue. Remember when I lost my measuring device and then I lost my patience? Anyway, you can see it's really shiny here. This is when I was running out of this stuff and I was being a little more conservative. Do you see it's less shiny? Now the other thing I've noticed is that I seem to have a lot more glass picking up, sticking out. Last night I actually touched something and did get glass into my finger, so I'm going to be sanding this thing at the beginning of the video, but I just want you to see some close-ups before we get started. Okay? Feel free to leave your comments, even criticism, I don't care. And subscribe to my channel if you're finding this stuff interesting and useful to you. Alright, let's get started. Good morning, this is Kelly Borsheim, and we are going to demold this sculpture that has the two-part mold. One is the rubber mold, the flexible mold, and the second one here is made out of fiberglass. It's the mother mold that's the supporting mold. It's hard and not flexible. So you've seen the other parts, hopefully, of where I made this mold, and I'll get rid of my oregano and also my scratch stick. You don't need that. So, oh wait, I forgot to use this. Oop. Mold making, take 42. Manhattan, and what comes next? Anyway, take 42. I'm filming this from both directions to get you different points of view. Anyway, set that aside. Okay, so I've got my tools here, and what I had noticed that I took in the other video is that I've got some gloss here and I've got some muted here, and that kind of confirms for me what I did was I added too much of the blue activator liquid, and that's leaving the shine. My theory, but I'm sticking to it. The other thing is that I touched it the other night, just curious how sharp it was, and I got glass in my finger. So fiberglass, especially this way, when you have a lot with the resin, you can cover a lot with resin sometimes. But anyway, what I want to do first is take some basic sandpaper, okay, I have a roll, and I'm just going to kind of lightly go over this to get rid of the glass, because the glass that's sticking up out of this is not likely to be, I should be using gloves, but I forgot to get them. It's not likely to be sticking up very much, and they're such fine things that rough sandpaper ought to take off the stuff that's going to hurt me. You know, but it's like we say, if you're sewing and you drop a needle on the floor, you know the best way to find it is to walk around barefoot. Murphy's Law will come into play and you'll find your needle. So it's the same thing here. When I think I have finished, this really hurts my back muscles. When I think I've finished, then I'll go ahead and run my fingers through. So you can see, first, this sandpaper, normally I wouldn't use finger because I want to get a straight thing, but this is not a piece of art I'm trying to make flat. I'm just trying to get rid of the stuff that's going to hurt me, or frankly anybody who handles the mold later. Because, you know, even if I wore gloves this time, I might forget about it when I put it in storage, or even if, heaven knows, I died and somebody decided, hey, what's this thing that she's got laying around her house? You know, I don't want somebody to pick it up and get glass in their fingers, because it's not a nice, it's such a fine glass, it's really like a skinny little thorn in your hand. It's not a pleasant experience. So, I'm going to cut the video for now, because you don't need to watch me struggle through this. But I'm going to try to do the whole surface, and then I'll touch it with my finger to make sure that I got things, and, you know, kind of do like that. So stay with me, stay tuned, come back. Alright? Okay, so this is Kelly Borsheim. You can find my finished work at borsheimarts.com, and follow me here on YouTube and other places on social media. So, I just destroyed my back muscles, sanding all of this down to get rid of the glass, and blimey, I meant to take a photo of this, but actually there's probably one being taken here. So you can see it's a lot less shiny, and I can run my fingers over it, and I've got glass there, Laura. See, look how fine that is. Also because it's a rough surface, most of my sanding is going into the high levels, but I was trying to wipe it enough so that any kind of gradual washover with the hand you'll get even the low parts will have the high stuff wiped off. So I don't remember doing this with my much larger mold that I made back in April for the portrait sculpture. And it makes me wonder if maybe putting in too much of the blue also somehow made the glass fibers come out, or if that's a stupid idea, or if maybe just the age of this stuff. Maybe, you remember how difficult it was for me to pull this stuff apart? It would just seem like it was sort of clumped in a weird way. That could be something to do with the age of the stuff, I don't know. But now I want to clean up all this fiberglass dust, and you know, because it's going to have little glass pieces in it. Let me move this table up ahead of me. Inside the mouth is a little weird. Because I don't want it to get onto the rubber if I can help it, and also if there's little glass pieces here, I don't particularly need that in my hands, do I? Alright, so, and I don't really want to be breathing this stuff, so I should have put a mask on, ideally. I actually love this setup that John and I had in Texas, that we worked in his carport, because we had protection from the rain, but we had the open air, and that was really, really nice. Now I'm working in my kitchen because the weather's cold outside, so you never know if it's going to rain or not. And plus, I don't move as fast. Well, I've never moved fast. It was never my strong point. Sometimes I think fast. Sometimes I think faster than other people do, that when I'm speaking to them and I get frustrated that they're not on the same page as I am. But other times, typically like most people, when I want to have a clever response to somebody, especially when they're being rude or something, I don't think about it until like 5 minutes later, so that's a bummer. My brothers are really good with the quips. Very smart, very clever with the things that they say. Sometimes it can be a bit brutal though, but that's what sarcasm is. Okay. Alright, so let's just put that aside for now. And okay, still have a few little spots here and there. Alright, so let's start taking this thing apart. Remember that I put sealer or I put a chemical here to not have the rubber connect to the fiberglass, and I also painted it on the board. So I'm going to see if I'm able to do, with my limited back muscles, so I've just pulled out 2 straight putty knives, thinking sometimes you've got to wedge stuff in on a similar side. I don't know if this is going to work. If not, I have to call in some big guns to help me. But the wider, I wanted the wider as possible. I have I have far too many of these. But I didn't put a whole lot of, I think I'm messing up my wood board, which is not a big concern, but there are times when I want my board to be straight. But it seems like I'm cutting more into the wood than I am in the fiberglass. But until I get to see what I'm actually doing here. If memory serves, I don't have, you see one corner is going in there. If memory serves, I don't have a whole lot of, see the way this is sliding faster now, I think I'm done with the fiberglass here. So let me try this. Didn't think about it, I probably could have brought other fiberglass. You know what's happening too is it'll go underneath the clay sculpture. And I'm not sure that I want that at this stage, but it's an easy repair to make, isn't it? So the main thing is to not try to go up into something. I do think when it gets easier, I'm probably out of the fiberglass region. Let me stay under my cut here. I know you probably can't see this with this, but I'll try to put the two videos together so that they make sense. Actually, put this with the garbage. You'll notice that I'm using a very light hammer, and part of that's because of my back injury, that I'm not even supposed to be doing this, honestly. I'm not supposed to lift stuff. Too much movement with my shoulder blade muscles. It does not help me. However, I do feel that hammering with this hand is better than with this one. Probably just because, since I'm mostly right-handed, it's a stress on those muscles more often than on my other hand. But also, I'm not lifting anything per se. This hammer's light enough to do the small job it needs to be doing here. And I probably should be using a different kind of putty knife, because these aren't really designed to be having force put here on that. You know, they're quite flexible and flimsy, but I was too lazy to go up and get my stone carving stuff. Plus, these are much lighter, and I have so many of these that if I sacrifice one just to help me go forward in this kind of bad back, I'm willing to sacrifice it. This one is a much stronger one. I think that probably depends on the brands. Okay, you could hear the difference on that, couldn't you? When it finished going through the... So, keep going all the way around. Maybe if I don't talk, then I can speed up this video later. Now you see I changed the other hand because it's just the angle. And because I often contradict myself. Okay. You can again hear the difference on that. Okay. I'm trying to think of my posture too, because posture is important in anything that you're doing, good health or bad, but it's certainly better for me now to be having good posture than not. And the other thing is that it's been a very humbling experience to realize that I can't do what I used to do in a day, and I have to, instead of beating myself up over what I didn't get done, I've tried to look at it and say, be happy with what you did do today. And I'm going to blame it on the back, but it could be an aging thing as well, I don't know. I'm only 59 though, so I don't want to act like I'm old. Because I wasn't before I had this humiliation. Why is that not going under? So I'm going to start where I was underneath. And then tilt this way to get underneath more. Pull this up. That's going well. It might be better that I'm getting under the clay, which I think I am, as well as the rubber, mostly because I have to take the rubber mold off as well, but at least with this hard surface on the top, on top of it, I have a less likely chance of damaging the rubber if I were to tap it while this was taken off. Does that make sense? if I had a table just the right size, I could walk around there and use my left hand, which is nice, what I want to do. You see how I'm getting my fingers out of the way with the hammer? That's a very important safety thing, but it also allows me to stay low and flat. I don't lift or bend the tool because my hand's going away. And you can also see that moving side to side is a little bit easier to have the tool escape than just trying to yank it straight out. It ain't the sword and the stone. Maybe I'm back where I started again, I don't remember anymore. Okay. Now, let's see if I can manage to lift this. I do think I want a glove here. Let's see if I have. All right. Oh, you know what's not separated is the mouth. That's going to be an interesting thing. I wonder if I even have something slim that I can get that far into it. I may have to pull that one off at the last minute and hope that the stuff that's not supposed to stay asphyxiated is going to actually be at work in my favor. Wait, did I put a fix? Did I paint inside the mouth? I kind of don't think I did. That could suck. I don't really know how I'm going to do this. And my screwdriver maybe is stronger and thicker. Can I use this as a lever? No. Whoop. Whoop. I need to think. I need a wedge, an actual wedge would get me where I think I want to go. I don't know if I have anything. Okay, I'm going to stop the video so I can look for a tool that allows me to get under and lift with just some gentle tapping. Okay? Okay. I don't know if this is going to work, but I got a stone carving or wall working for the construction guy gave me this as a gift when I was first here. I'm going to see if I can get this to go in there. It's a stronger tool, but it's also a fatter wedge. Of course, this hammer's not enough for it. It's not seeming to work. I don't know. Which, this is the flimsy one, this is the strong one. Let me put the strong one under here. So maybe I can push this underneath the wedge that's here. It's just an idea. I can already feel the pain in my shoulder blade, so I really shouldn't be doing this, but this is part of my problem. When my back doesn't heal, it's because I'm hard-headed and I don't want to accept that I can't do stuff. I just want to get this mold off. Look, I'm seeing progress. So now I have that under there. See it coming up? Alright. Oh, look! Look! It popped it all off. That's amazing! That was easier than I thought. Wow, that's really cool. So now I've got to peel out the rubber mold here, you see? Look at that. But the funny thing was, do you see this hole in the mold? You probably can't. It's a dark space. There's a dark space there too. I was going to put this piece of tape over it. Oh, look how nice it is. It hardly ruined my sculpture at all, which is fantastic because I have to make another mold. So, look at this. So I can just peel it out. This is why you really need to paint that anti-stick stuff on it to separate them so easily. Can you see that from this side? Isn't that cool how it's a negative? Let's see if I can do that for both videos. And I do have a little bit of hole in the mouth there, which is, I guess, what I wanted, but I'm not sure if there was a reason for that or not. And another thing I can tell you is I can see right here little tiny bits of clay that are still in the mold, and maybe little bubbles too, where I didn't really get a good job. I can see bubbles there. So I didn't get to do a good job of pushing things in. And also I've got bubbles here. So I'm really thinking, and also that eye is a little weird. All of these are fixable things, but it's making me think that I really do want to go back and insist on using that thinner rubber for stuff like that to get into all the crevices. Because even though these are all fixable mistakes, why should I fix mistakes when I can avoid them? So let me continue doing this here. Let's do. Okay, so I didn't get the edges. That'll be a note to self, is to do the edges. I want to be very careful where this mold is torn here and pull away from it. Okay, is this showing up here or no? The mouth may be a difficult thing. I'm wondering if I somehow got less of the release material into that section of the mold, or if it's just because, see, I'm a little worried if I pull too fast or too, without supporting this, I could tear the rubber, and that would defeat the whole purpose, wouldn't it? Alright, so let's get that baby out of the nose. So here's my separated mold. You can see I've got some green spots here. Maybe I didn't have enough of the release chemical there. So this is my mold. This needs to be washed up. This I will stick outside to air out because it is fiberglass and it stinks. And before I forget, I want to try to do this. Just sort of lightly place this back on here. Hopefully it won't damage the sculpture. But what I wanted to do, because at this point I have nothing to lose, I wanted to make a cement copies of this. Cement is going to be mixed with sand in this case and put the net in, so there's no way that this rubber is going to get better with it. So my feeling was to put a little piece of duct tape. Duct tape is thin. Hopefully it won't change this from supporting that shape. But I feel like I'd rather try this than not. And maybe I need to wait until after I've washed it, but I'm going to try it now just because when I'm trying new stuff, you know, if it comes off later if I try to wash it, well, I will be washing it, but if it comes off later, I just put it back on again, right? So here's the hole. It's got a little bit of the clay coming this way. So my main goal is to not have the clay mold get worse. I mean the rubber mold. So try to push it in right there to keep the form. Okay, and then I basically want to smush this down to keep the adhesive going. The cement won't be super liquidy that I pour in. Wax would be, so that would be an important reason to do this if I ever made a bronze of this. But who knows? It's cool enough that maybe I would. But to be honest, I would wait till a customer wanted to buy it before I did. Alright, so that didn't stick very well. It may or may not stick better if I clean the rubber, and I may do this again, who knows. But for right now, I'm going to let this air out a bit, and then I'm going to wash the rubber, and I'm going to let this air out for at least a day, okay, because it stinks. And then I'm going to repair my sculpture and check out every little detail that I can. Also, I'm going to fill in the cracks around the bottom here, because the next thing I want to do is make a box, seal it, and then pour a plaster mold of this copy so that I can eventually make terracotta clay, water-based clay, because the water has to suck into the gesso, and then that'll help the clay dry, and then you can pull the face out of the mold. Otherwise, it's never going to dry and you'll never be able to pull the face out. Alright, so thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and comment and like and share all that good stuff. I really appreciate it, and I like your questions and comments, so thanks. Why do I keep forgetting my new toy? Take 42. I don't even know how to use it, I just thought it was cute. And tulipani. Today is February 20. My landlord is cutting the olive trees. Ciao. Okay, so here I have this big bath that I realized somebody gave me, got out of my attic. And I've been adding water because I can't lift water. And I want to use warm water with just regular soap. Soap to get out grease is fine, because that's basically what you're doing. Plastilina is a wax-based clay. Can you see some of the wax that's stuck into there? Alright, so basically the warmth of the water will soften that, and then I can sort of pick it out and clean it out. You see how that goes? So yeah, I'm just going to kind of let this sit a bit, and I may be able to wash off this fiberglass material that's stuck to it. Here you can see my duct tape. See how this was just messy there. I don't know if that's because I didn't have any release agent. Probably. It's not going to matter really. It's just, you know, sometimes I want to try to be clean in my work. And I wanted to also show you, this is the original. And look how clean it took off in a lot of places. Now you can see on the chin here I've got a little bit of hole there. The nose holes you expect to have some damage, but they're not quite as bad as I thought. Little pieces here, there. In the hair there will be little things like, you know, that. Probably where I pushed too hard when I made the rubber. Just stuff like that. And so now what I'm going to do is when I go to make the plaster mold so I can make a terracotta sculpture, I'm going to remember when I took the knives underneath, I'm going to fill in all of this and make sure that plaster is not going to soak up under that, just because that would be an annoyance. It'll be thin enough it would break off easy. It's not going to be an issue. You can see, oh, that's a water drop I just did with my wet hand. So anyway, this will be my project tonight or maybe tomorrow night depending on my energy. Do you see right there's another, took out some of the holes you can see. So it's just little tiny things, but really I'm quite happy with how it came out, and that makes the second mold that much easier to make. Usually what I do is I hold on to the original really indefinitely until I need to use the clay again, but it could be with this project that I want to make other faces with other expressions for the same kind of purpose, and these marks here will come in handy for me to make something a similar size or to make something smaller depending on what I think might be sellable. So anyway, we'll see, but I usually keep them minimum until I've made a good copy from the molds. Once I've made a good copy, then I can set the copy aside, and if I need to, I can use that to make a new mold from if something happens. Okay, so ciao for now. Ciao, ciao. Off to rest.